Hello and welcome to exercise 1 on practicing drawing shapes. First, I'm going to use my zoom tool, which is right here, this search icon, or Z for shortcut, and we're going to zoom in closely here. I am in the Essentials Classic workspace, and I'm going to expand this right bar so we can read these palettes better. So let's open our Layers panel, and you'll see the Place document is in Layer 2, that is locked, so you want to make sure you're clicked on Layer 1. Next, you can go to your Shape tool. Yours is likely looking like the Rectangle tool. The shortcut is M. And we need to make a 1.5 inch rectangle or square. We can do that a couple different ways. I can click on the artboard and it will bring up a rectangle window, and I can type in 1.5 if I'm in inches, and you can constrain that portion here. So here is my square, and yours is likely going to be in the default, which is a white fill and a black stroke. You can go to your selection arrow to move that around if you need to. But for now, that's going to work. Let's go ahead and remove the stroke. So click on this black stroke outline and click the None fill or None icon here. Next, we're going to copy this square and move it to the corner radius section. So I can do that either by holding Option to click and drag, or I can do a copy, which is either Command C to copy, or go to Edit, Copy, and then we need to paste that. So Edit, Paste, or Command V. And we're going to drag that over this shape. So to make this a rounded corner, you can see it as zoom in. There are some little hollow circles here. Now you want to click on the white arrow so you can see these selected points. And up here at the top in this control panel, or if you open your transform panel, which is under Window, Transform, we can see that the corner radius right here is 0. So let's do a couple different methods. I'm going to click and drag just one of those points while it's selected, and you can see my radius changing the value. So we want 0.25 inches. And now we can see up here that the corner radius has changed, and you can edit that by clicking or typing in a value. In the transform panel, now you'll see it says 0.25. So we can adjust it there. It's currently locked, so all corners are changing. You can unlock that to get unique values for each of those corners. You can use your Command or Control and plus and minus zeros to zoom in and out. And then I am on a trackpad where you can use your spacebar to click and pan around your artboard. Alright, so now we need to make a square that has two rounded opposite corners. So let's hold down Option, click and drag, and you can hold down Shift to keep it in line and align it with that shape. So what we want to do now, let's go ahead and make this 0 inches, and I am in my transform. 0 on the corner radius, and hit Return. And we need to select with our white arrow, select, holding down Shift, select both of those corners, and you can click and drag those side arrows. We want a 1/2 inch corner radius. So you can see as I click and move, we're getting 0.5. And now you'll see here that the alternating, and up here, you can slightly adjust. So if I zoom out to the full artboard, Command 0, you can see we've created our shapes. Before we get too far, let's go ahead and save our document. It's very important to save often. So let's go to File, Save As. And if you haven't already, I would like you to create your class course number and description for the folder, which is Art 129-Design Software Applications. Within that, you will create a Week 01 folder, and this is where we will save this exercise file. I'm going to have you go ahead and open your PDF of exercise 1. And this is the file format I would like you to use. you will be saving both an Illustrator.ai file and a .pdf when you're done. So for now, let's save the .ai file here. You can see under Format, it says Adobe Illustrator, which is the AI extension. Save. I'm going to replace mine since I already had one there. And for the Illustrator options, we're just going to go with the most recent, which is Illustrator 2020. And all of the default settings are fine for this, so go ahead and click OK. The other method for creating a rectangle was go to the rectangle tool, and the first time we just clicked to enter the values of the width and height. This time, I'm just going to click on the rectangle tool, and holding down Shift, you can constrain the proportions to a perfect square, and using the black selection tool, we can move this around, and with the transform palette open, or up here in the control panel, we can resize this, again constraining the proportions to keep it a square. And the square size, if you looked at the exercise sheet before, it is 1.5 inches. So under transform, that is 1.5. And make sure both the width and the height are 1.5. So that's the other way to make a square and check the dimensions. If you need to nudge the square, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. With the object selected with the black arrow, you can use your arrow keys to just nudge that left, right, up or down. Command 0 to get back to the overview. Next, let's zoom in and create this ellipse or circle. Under the rectangle tool is the ellipse tool, or L for shortcut. And I'm going to just click on the artboard, and this ellipse needs to be 1.5 by 1.5 inches. With the direct selection tool, this black arrow, I can click and move that so it's more centered. Now this ellipse is 2 inches wide by 1.5 inches tall. So we can either copy this one, copy and paste under Edit, or Command C and Command V. And we can scale this either by taking one of the edges, or if you hold down Option while you click on this edge, it will scale both sides. If I undo, Command Z, find your arrow here on one of the sides, and if I only click and drag, it's going to only adjust one side, versus if I hold down Option while I click on one side with our black selection tool, we're going to get an ellipse. And you can see over here that the width is 2 by 1.5 in height. If yours is not, go ahead and deselect the constrain and type in those values. Next, let's look at the polygon tool on how to create this shape. So under the rectangle or ellipse shape, you're going to find the polygon tool. The polygon tool starts drawing from the center, so I'm going to try to find the center point and just click and drag, and you can see it's kind of angled here. I'm going to hold down Shift, and that will allow me to keep the top and bottom edges square. So if I grab the direct selection tool, the black arrow, you can see I didn't specify a size here, but I'm going to try to align it with that top left, and holding down Shift, again with the black arrow, and the object selected, I'm going to click on this bottom corner and scale the object. You can see this blue box. I am holding down Shift, and I can scale this object, and wherever I release will be how small or large the object is. So that was pretty easy for the hexagon. Let's go over here and look at a triangle. So with the polygon selected again, I'm going to click from the center and drag again. This time, I'm going to hold down Shift, and you can use your arrow keys up and down to cycle through the number of sides. So I'm going to cycle down to 3, which is the minimum for this polygon. Now I can grab the direct selection tool, select the object, and adjust it. Another method, if I delete that one, and let's say we have this hexagon. Over here at the right side, there's a little diamond shape, and you can pull that up to reduce the number of sides, or you can pull it down to increase the number of sides. So this little diamond at the side can be adjusted. So again, with the direct selection tool in the object, I'm going to scale this from one of the corners. You can see the diagonal double-sided arrow. And there's our triangle. Next, let's create this 8-sided octagon. So with the polygon tool selected, this time I'm going to click near the center closely, and holding down Option and Shift, I'm going to drag to the approximate size, and I'm going to press my up or down arrow until I see the octagon shape outlined in blue, and there is the octagon. Let's go ahead and do a save on the document, either going to File, Save, or Command S. Now let's go ahead and zoom in on this egg shape. The Zoom tool, Z, and click and drag. You can use your spacebar to pan around the image. For drawing this egg shape, we are going to want the pen tool, which is P for shortcut. And this will allow us to draw a more organic shape. So for this, we're going to go along the edge and click on the outside. And while we release, we have the ability to move this path. And when we click again and hold down, we have the ability to change the curve of this path. If we click the anchor point right now, we will be able to freely continue adding points, or you can click and drag to add more of a curve to it. So you can change these handles by however far you click and hold and drag. If you do not want the curved path, just click on the anchor point and move around as closely as I can. So go ahead and keep doing that. I'm going to speed this up a bit. If you do somehow get off and click a point that you don't want, you can do Command Z, which is undo, or up here it is Edit Undo. If you accidentally hit or want to escape using the escape key, that will end your pen tool connection. If you need to adjust an anchor point after the fact, go to your white direct selection tool, which is A for shortcut, and you can click on any of the points to move them later. You can also adjust the handles by clicking on those little dots. So to get that again, just go back to the pen tool, click on this point to continue adding more. All right, and now we've completed the shape. So you can go back to your direct selection tool. If it's easier for you to see the underlying object while you're drawing, you can either decrease the opacity of the object, so making sure the object's selected. Up here you can change the opacity, or you may want to switch the fill to a stroke, and you can do that by swapping with this double-sided arrow here. And now we can see the edge a little bit better. You can also pick a different color if you select the stroke and go to swatches. You could choose a more visible color. So let's zoom out. If I hold down Option, it will change that to a minus, or you can always do Command minus or plus to zoom in and out. So now that I've traced this object, I'm going to select it with the black arrow. Holding down Shift, I'm going to drag it to the center area. And I'm going to go ahead and sample this color with the dropper tool. And I'm going to create this yoke, as you can see in this example. So let's go back to the Ellipse tool. You can click in the center holding down Option and Shift. And now if I get our black selection arrow, you can move that off and go to the eyedropper, eye, and sample this yellow. Go back to selection arrow. to create this slight differentiation of the yellow, I'm going to go ahead and copy this yellow shape, Command C, Command V, or Command F will paste in place. And with the black selection tool, I'm just going to shrink this top yellow circle, and I'm going to sample a lighter section. Now I'm going to create this little highlight on the egg, and to do that, I'm going to go back to ours and zoom out a bit. Copy this selected yellow circle. So edit, copy, edit, paste in place. And I'm going to shrink it a bit more. And you can see the fill is yellow. I'm going to switch that so it's on the stroke. Select the stroke, go to swatches, and click the white swatch. And now I'm going to cut this shape with the scissors tool, which is C for shortcut. And I'm just going to freely cut a couple of points, and you can see that piece is selected. I'm going to delete that part. With this arc selected, I'm going to grab the scissors tool again and cut a couple more times on this path. And with my selection tool, I'm going to delete this piece. So with both of these white pieces selected, I'm going to increase the stroke. You can see up here is the stroke width. I'm going to make that up 2.5. And in the stroke panel over here, we're going to change the cap to rounded. I'm going to make this egg white a little bit whiter, bright white, and zoom out. We are almost there. I have added a subtle drop shadow to the yolk and the egg white. So with my direct selection, select this white part, and we are going to go to Effect, Stylize, Drop Shadow. And this window is going to pop up. We're going to bring the opacity down to 15. And your offset, we're just going to see what this looks like. And you can adjust the blur. So if I make the blur 0, you'll see it's very sharp. And if you accidentally hit return like I just did, you can go back to the appearance panel. And if you scroll down, you can edit this appearance effect, which is the drop shadow. And we're going to want some blur. So let's do 0.03. And you can refine that even more if you'd like. Now I'm going to select this darkest part of the yolk, and we're going to do the same thing. You can either duplicate the effect with this apply drop shadow or go back into the settings. Either way, you'll be able to edit in the appearance panel. And let's make our offset a little bit less. And you can change the color from black to, maybe a dark orange or brown, and play with the opacity. I do have my preview box checked so I can see those updates immediately, and click OK. So if I zoom back out, there is our practice sheet. And now, just to make sure that you're saving your file correctly, go to File, Save As, and make sure wherever you've created your Art 129 Design Software Applications folder, if you're working on campus, it might be on that computer. You'll want to make sure to copy that to a personal drive before you leave so it doesn't get deleted. Whatever computer you're working on, make sure you have your hard drive and you click into the drive where that folder should be. And go to Exercise 1 And the file name will be art129 underscore exercise hyphen 01 hyphen your first letter of your name, your last name, underscore v1, and that means version 1. Let's go ahead and resave that as the Illustrator file. And now let's save the PDF by going to File, Save As, and still within that exercise 1 folder, change the file type to PDF, save, and let's do high quality PDF. You can uncheck Preserve Illustrator Capabilities and save PDF. And now when I open my class folder on the hard drive or the desktop, I have the instructions, my complete exercise file, a PDF, and the original exercise file. And now when you sign into your Google Drive, go to My Drive, and you should upload the folder of your files. So it's saved on your personal Google Drive. And then to submit your files for grading, go to Share Drive, Art129, and the Submit Files folder. And here's where you're going to turn in the exercise 1. And you're going to upload your complete exercise file and your PDF.